Hey everybody, this is your host, the Platinum Knight, here with another Double First Impressions video, and today's Double First Impressions is 28 years later, The Bone Temple, and Project Hail Mary. Starting with 28 years later, The Bone Temple. This is a movie that I really wanted to see in theaters, but the reason why I didn't is because this movie was released on January 16th, the same month where I'm usually busy in my personal life, such as my birthday and so on. So of course I wasn't able to make a going to see video out of this film. However, I actually ended up seeing this movie for free, I believe around in the middle of March in a Discord server. Yeah, all of a sudden on Twitter I see one of my friends' Discord servers was hosting this movie. Then I said to myself, well, okay, why not I join? It was a really fun watch party. I had a good time just hanging out with some of my favorite VTubers and talking to other people while watching the movie. And what are my thoughts on The Bone Temple? It's awesome! Way better than the previous film. While 28 years later was going for a Last of Us type of feel to it, The Bone Temple goes for a more demonic heavy metal and psychological vibe. The movie is about Spike, who was the main protagonist in the previous film, ends up getting rescued by a cult away from the infected. However, it came with a cost, and that cost is him basically being forced to join them, until Spike very slowly realizes that this cult isn't exactly all that mentally stable, and then it goes from there. This film is brutal, and it surprisingly has some pretty good gruesome scenes in here. One of the biggest highlights of the film that I have to give very high praise for, and that is Ralph Fiennes as Dr. Ian Kelson. He puts on an incredible performance, and I really do hope that he gets nominated for some awards. Then again, this is Ralph Fiennes we're talking about, and if you've seen any of his previous work, he was in Schindler's List, The Grand Budapest Hotel, The Red Dragon, The Kingsman, The Corral, Skyfall, The Hurt Locker, Sunshine, and so on. The film also dives more in depth on smart zombies. While in the previous film it was hinted that the zombies were more intelligent, here they decide to go way above and beyond on exploring intelligent zombies. I swear, this movie had some ridiculous moments that there were even times when I just started laughing. But in a good way though. It's done in a very entertaining way. One of the criticisms I had with 28 years later is the 2.76 aspect ratio. This means it had this really wide view that you were able to see black bars from top to bottom. I understand that it was supposed to make the film more scary and intense, but it just didn't work for me. But in The Bone Temple, they changed the aspect ratio to 2.39, making me feel like I can see everything again. 28 years later, The Bone Temple is definitely a major improvement compared to its predecessor. Don't get me wrong, of course I still like 28 years later, but for those of you that didn't enjoy the slow pacing of that film, then you will definitely find it way more welcoming how its sequel is a lot more fast-paced and action-oriented. It's crazy to believe that both 28 years later and The Bone Temple were shot back-to-back, yet they feel like two completely different movies. And I think I know why. Fun fact, Danny Boyle did not return to direct The Bone Temple, supposedly due to scheduling issues. It was actually Nia DaCosta that ended up taking over. Then again, both films were written by Alex Garland, so I'll let you guys be the judge. There are some plot points in the movie that go nowhere, but I want to believe it will be explored more in the sequel. Oh, and as for my thoughts on the ending, it was cool, but at the same time, I really wish one of my favorite characters didn't die. I'm not gonna spoil it, but man, I really wish he would have lived. One last thing I want to talk about is the very end. Like I said in my 28 years later first impressions, this isn't really a spoiler. Danny Boyle already said this before the previous installment even came out, and that is Cillian Murphy reprising his role as Jim. For those of you that are wondering why am I so excited for this, well, the reason why I anticipated this moment is for two reasons. Reason number one, one. It's because I love Cillian Murphy. He is such a phenomenal actor. He was the Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogy. He was also in Sunshine, Inception, In Time, Dunkirk, and his most recent Oppenheimer, which he won an Oscar for. Reason number 2 is because for so long the 28 series have never been connected. Both 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later are two completely separate stories. So it's really nice to see how the Bone Temple finally makes things go full circle. It really is a big deal. I also find it really cool how the film decided to play a classic song during the end credits. I literally got serious goosebumps running down my face after listening to that soundtrack again. Unfortunately, 28 years later, the Bone Temple did underperform at the box office, but it didn't completely bomb. Now I feel bad that I ended up watching this movie for free on Discord. However, despite the movie underperforming, somehow it ended up getting greenlit for one more sequel. I am so hyped that this time I will be sure to go see it in theaters and have them take my money. Anyways, 28 Years Later is an awesome movie, and for those of you who are into zombie films, then I highly recommend you check it out. The next movie I'm gonna talk about is Project Hail Mary. Without me not spending too much time talking about this movie, because all you need to know is people go see it. It is a masterpiece. It's better if you know nothing about the story at all and just go experience it for yourself. No movie has made me feel so many emotions in a very long time. It's just so heartwarming and wholesome. This would have to be Ryan Gosling's greatest performance he has ever done. What I didn't know going into this film is it's actually based on a novel by the same author of The Martian, Andy Weir. I swear I almost cried in the theater. I got that sad feeling around my neck area, and oh man, this film really touched my heart. The funny thing is, I thought The Odyssey was gonna become my movie of the year for sure, but now I think Project Hail Mary is my #1 movie of 2026. 28 years later, The Bone Temple may be the first brand new movie I saw of 2026, but Project Hail Mary is the first brand new movie I saw in theaters of this year. 2026 is really starting out strong. Anyways, for those of you who still haven't seen Project Hail Mary yet, then I highly recommend it. It is a masterpiece and you will not regret it. Alright everybody, that's it for this double first impressions video. That's it for my first impressions on 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, and Project Hail Mary. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for new videos. This has been your host, The Platinum Knight, and peace out everybody. You have yourselves a good one.